Let's make cookies. And you girl forgot to film from the beginning. So let me do a voiceover for this and hopefully it is helpful. Step 1, I blended butter, eggs, and sugar until the butter was fluffy. Then I poured that into a mixture of flour mixed with baking powder and a bit of spices. I used cinnamon, ginger, a bit of cardamom, and milk. Sometimes your butter and egg mixture will be enough, but I wanted to make more cookies, so I used milk to add the quantity of the cookies I was gonna make for this recipe. Then I proceeded to fold in my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients, which are the dry ingredients were obviously flour and baking powder. Please do not forget the baking powder. I almost did in this one. Some of you have previously asked me to share measurements. Wow, that's a difficult one. I just cook. I measure with my head. It's crazy out here. It's total chaos. I barely measure anything. I just put until it's enough. So enough of whatever margarine I have, enough of the flour, enough of everything, literally. I just make sure I don't overdo, right? Don't overdo. Another very important tip is that if you're using margarine, and especially Prestige, which almost always comes salted, please remove salt from additional ingredients in your recipe. As you can see, I had so much fun folding in and making sure my dry ingredients were well incorporated, the wet ingredients. I'm not manipulating the flour too much. I mean the dough too much. I'm just making sure everything is well incorporated. This is not like the dough when you're making chapati. You just do very little with this one. So mix, mix, mix. I don't know if you can tell the consistency here. It's not hard and it's not very soft either. And in this case, you have to make sure it's a bit harder because you've used butter or margarine. And in this case, if your dough is too soft, it will melt and you will make a plate of cookie instead of individual cookies. I've had a case of that before. The cookies were edible, it's just that they were not presentable. After this, I proceeded to fold out like a size of individual cookies. At first, I tried to use the ice cream scoop. It was too big. So for each scoop, I divided that dough into 2 different cookies because you don't want your cookies too big and then they end up not cooking. And what you can see is I shredded some chocolate chip, like some dark chocolate, into these chips that I folded into the cookies. And not all of them really. This was just gonna be surprise cookies with chocolate on the inside. Like a little surprise when you go pick your cookie inside the cookie jar. I had so much fun doing this. Man, I had too much fun. And here is the results of my, cut out cookies. Hand cut out. I didn't use a cookie cutter. And this right here is a lid that I used to put a little design on the cookies. Do whatever you can. Improvise. Don't stress out with these things. You can improvise and try out. Yeah. So I had so much fun doing this one. From my dough, I was able to make 2 trays of cookies. I also lined that with the baking paper so that my cookies don't overheat from the tray and burn, because when you're baking cookies, you want to bake one side, not like flip them, right? And then after this, I threw in my cookies in the oven. Temperature for the oven, 180 degrees Celsius. And yep, here's my cookies baking. And what you see next is straight out of the oven. Oh, goodness, this is so good. So good. Another tip I'd like to give you, please don't burn your cookies. Stay there, stay present until they're done cooking, okay? Don't overburn them and don't remove them before they are brown enough. Wait.
Yummy for my tongue.
Wait. Oh. Okay, it's too hot. Let me show you. Let me show you which one was it. It has chocolate inside. This was after letting the cookies cool on the counter, and I was packaging them in the storage cans, airtight storage cans. Make sure you store your cookies in airtight containers, because if you don't, they will soak up smells and things around them, like moisture and stuff like that. So store in an airtight container. Cookie jar.